Good morning, YouTube, and welcome to episode 4 in this series, but technically episode 3 of The Cut, where I'm currently trying to get into the best shape of my life, and I am now almost exactly a month into dieting. So I'm going to show you the progress that I've seen over the last month in this video, and also some changes have been made as well. So I'm going to show you what those are to keep you in the loop with like the changes that I have made and everything like that. But to start the day, as normal, I have got my, drum roll please, overnight oats. I've just defrosted my raspberries and I've got my overnight oats in the fridge, as you can see here. And I am just about to have these. This is still exactly the same at the moment, so still like 40 grams of oats and everything. I'll show you what I've got in here. Within here, still exactly the same. My calories through the rest of the day have been adjusted slightly. And as I say, I'll show you through all of that sort of stuff. As you will notice, this has literally stayed the same throughout the whole dieting process. And whenever I'm dieting, I always try and keep things, there's a good acronym called KISS acronym, keep it stupidly simple. So basically I would just have sort of like three or four meal options per meal that I can choose from. And I just choose from them and they're all in line with like my diet and stuff, but it stops me from getting really bored from having like one thing constantly. So like for breakfast, for example, I could switch things up, but I just love this. And then like lunch and dinner, I typically have like a few options that I can choose from. As I say, just sort of decreases variance within the diet, so there's less that can sort of go wrong. And like Monday through to Friday, I'll typically have pretty much always say similar sort of stuff. Weekend, I'm a little bit more sort of chilled out with things, but still in line. And that is how I go about the food side of things. But right now, I've got to go and crack on with some work. I forgot to mention that I've already gone and done some steps to start the day, as always. I've got legs today, but I'm also injured as well, so I need to show you what I'm doing to sort of try and sort out. I've got like a little bit of a niggle in my back, so I've got to work around that with my leg session, and then I've also got to sort of try and sort that out, so I'll show you how I'm doing that. Tell you about my calories, and also show you how I'm looking 1 month in as well. Fucking hell, that's heavy today. Oh, it's cold. Hello, so I'm at the gym. I'm just warming up for my leg session. But as mentioned, today's session is going to be a little bit different from normal. So my normal like training week is I do push, pull, legs, rest, upper body, then lower body, rest. So that's like pretty much what I do every single week. However, because I was mentioning about my like having like that little niggle in my back, I didn't train pull yesterday. So I've got a little bit of triceps to do at the very start of this session. But I'm going to do a little bit less sets than what I normally would, just because I'm going to be training them again in a couple of days. And then I'll be cracking on with my leg session like normal, but I'm not doing any barbell squats because of having that little niggle in my back. Now with like the actual sort of like injury itself, it's not so much like an injury as such, but it's like the other day when I was doing barbell back squat, I just felt like it was really, really tight. I can still feel a lot of tightness within there. When I have a look at like my progress photos, I can clearly see that like my left shoulder is slightly higher and slightly more elevated than my right hand side, and like that's where this sort of like uncomfortableness and stuff comes from. So what I need to do, it was the same before Thailand and everything like that, so it's like a persistent injury annoyingly, and I need to just sort of take action to start sorting that out. session is all done, and that honestly was so solid. That was one of my, before coming, I really wasn't feeling like coming. I've not been sleeping the best the last couple of days and stuff like that, so I was just not really in like the best mood for it. But honestly, that was so solid. I improved on everything. I've swapped out the barbell squats now, just because it was causing like bicep pain, and also I tweaked my back on it as I mentioned, so I went for a leg press instead. 300 times 6, which is really solid considering I'm in like a significant deficit, and I have been for the last 4 weeks. And overall the session was really good. Like the hip thrust felt really good, everything felt really good, and I was like really focusing on every session that I'm doing at the moment, even though in a diet you're obviously not really primed to be building muscle, especially depending on obviously like your training age. I've been training for like a decent amount of time now, so I'd imagine it's harder for me to accrue and like acquire muscle. But I believe that the people that train the hardest during a diet always look the best when they finish their diet. So I'm really focusing every session I do. I'm just trying to push myself like as much as possible. I'm really enjoying it. I'm getting stronger literally every single week. So that was really good, really positive. I also did some different, like a different leg press sort of variation where I basically had my heels off at the bottom to try and get my quads under like as much stretch as possible. That was quite good. Like I could really feel that like strengthening sort of like my quads in a different sort of position to what I normally would, like a bit of a longer sort of position that I don't normally hit. So I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to do like one heavy set and then one back off set where I do that. But during my, I was listening to a bit of Hood, HOOD by, what are they called? Kneecap. That was what I was listening to during my top set. Understand like barely any words because they're Irish and they speak Gaelic, I suppose it is. But that got me through that set. And I've also got a chewing gum in because I forgot my protein shake, and I feel like having something to chew sort of helping me to feel a little bit less hungry, because I am quite a hungry boy after that. I'm going to show you very shortly how things are looking like a month after starting my diet in comparison to the start, but I'm currently getting my steps done. Got about 4,000 to do. As usual, going to be doing a little bit of Duolingo, a little bit of like Instagram work as well. And then I'll see you in the posing room as always. So I got the footage of me in the posing room, and I've tried to make it as accurate. Fucking hell, just go up, will ya? I tried to sort of make it as accurate as possible from one to the other, but I've come back home nice and quickly because I'm so hungry. All I've had is my overnight oats, and then I've gone and done a full leg session, done pretty much all of my steps. So I'm cooking up my M&S chicken mince. Going up in the world, the M&S chicken mince is like £1 something more expensive than what the Lidl one is. And I think Lidl have discontinued it or something because I just can't find it anymore. So we're going with the M&S one, which is posh. But anyway, this morning I woke up at 76.7 kilos, which I think I was 77.25 this time last week. So 0.6 of a kilo difference basically. However, I think that my weight was affected by, last night I had a really salty meal last thing. So when I woke up, I felt quite full of water. Also really thirsty as well, so that would suggest to me that potentially I was holding on to a little bit more water. I just need to stir my chicken mince. But on the screen now is how I was looking at the start of the month on the left and how I'm looking now on the right. You can clearly see like clear visual differences. I'm starting to certainly look significantly like leaner than I was, and I'm thinking to myself, that's a difference of around about 3.4 kilos. In between the two of them. If I can just make sure that I lose like another 3.4 kilos this month roughly, I'm more than confident that I'll be getting in pretty decent shape at that point in time, because as mentioned like in previous videos, I'm already seeing the visual difference, and that visual difference is only going to increase like week on week and as I go through. But at the end of February, I'm launching my new 8-week fat loss program, like rapid fat loss program, and it's called RRAPID, but with 2 R's because it's Regan's rapid fat loss program. It's specifically designed to help people like lose as much fat as possible, pretty much as like within 8 weeks, to get them in shape like prior to the summer arriving. And I have been using the exact same process as you get access to on that, just to basically show people that like what I'm doing works. If you're interested in potentially getting a spot for that, it's only £89 for 8 weeks worth of fat loss coaching. You'll get literally everything that you can need. I will leave the link to that in the description of this video. But as I say, that's literally the exact same process that I'm following. You can see the visual differences that I'm seeing already. You could see the same, if not even more, within the sort of same time period. I also trialed it with a female client of mine to make sure that it was like as good as could be. And so far, she started pretty much the same time as me. So within the 4 weeks that she's done, I think she had lost like 4.4 kilos within the 4 weeks as of yesterday. And that was also with managing her time of the month and everything like that as well last week. So as I say, obviously proven to deliver results, and it will deliver the same results for you. And you can get access to it at the end of February, but you need to be on the priority list. And as I say, you can access that via the link in the description. But now that I have said all of that, I'm gonna eat this meal. I've then got some work to do, and then I'll show you a little bit later on the changes that I've made, how I'm approaching things at this moment in time to continue seeing fat loss, seeing weight loss, and ultimately continuing getting into the best shape of my life and the leanest I've ever been. That's like my main goal. I want to just be like nice and lean. There's some very distinct differences between dieting and like trying to gain muscle. And one of the most advantageous ones when you're dieting, it might not seem like an advantage, but eating less food and eating less frequently is actually just so good for working. I sat down here at like, say like 1 o'clock, I think maybe 1:30 or something like that. And it is now 6:30. And I've just been working like non-stop, so focused, not even really been thinking about eating or anything like that. I've just had to go downstairs to have a couple of Weetabix, and which I normally wouldn't have. I'd normally have some Cocoa Pops, but I just ran out of that. And I've also got my protein shake to have whilst I'm here. I think this is like a litres worth of water, and this is 1.5 litres worth of water. I honestly drink so much water, like I drink a ridiculous amount, but I just always stock up with tons of water to help me stay pretty much feeling full whilst on a diet. I've still got one meal left to have later on. I've still also got to do a little bit of work, so I'm going to be doing that before sort of doing some steps, eating a little bit of food, and then also watching City versus Newcastle. Arsenal through to the Carabao Cup final. I don't know who I'd rather play out of City or Newcastle. I'd say that we're favourites out of all of them anyway. But I want to watch the game tonight because I just want to watch it, basically. Want to see. I feel like Newcastle there could be a bit of an upset on the cards. So I'm out getting the last of my steps for today, and I apologise if this audio is a little bit weird because I normally have a little fluffy thing on here, but I've lost it, so I need to try and find it, and I'm holding it close to my mouth. I feel like this is going to be like ASMR. But as mentioned, I have made a few changes. So I originally was doing 2,600 calories on training days and 2,400 calories on non-training days. But because like your body is highly adaptive and will get used to calories relatively quickly, even though I'm seeing like a good rate of loss, because my adherence is good and I'm not feeling too hungry or anything at the moment, I've actually dropped my normal training day calories to the same as my rest day. So it's just 2,400 constantly. I'm not reducing down my rest day calories because when I'm not actually actively doing things, I always find that I'm like much hungrier, like if I'm not training. And then as well as that, I'm not actually actively increasing steps, but I've just increased my step target to 9k. But I was already doing over that anyway. Like for the last couple of weeks, my average has been like 9.5k, if not 10k anyway, just naturally. So I just increased it to be a little bit more accurate to where it currently is. But the whole aim of the game really with this is just to continue seeing progress at like a nice and quick rate, because I just want to get the diet done like as soon as possible pretty much. Just editing up this YouTube video, chilling. And I think that it may well have been one of the worst predictions in the whole world, in the history of football potentially. City are 3-0 up against Newcastle. They're 3-0 up in like 30 minutes and they're winning 5-0 on aggregate. And I thought that Newcastle stood a chance of there being a bit of an upset. Terrible. I've just gone and had my last meal of the day. Bag of rice, golden vegetable rice as always, and a lamb steak thing. Love a bit of lamb. With also a bit of sweet corn as well for a bit of insoluble fibre. But that is the end of this episode of The Cut. As I say, things are going well so far. Very happy with how things are going. Made slight adjustments to continue seeing progress. I'm more than confident that by the time I get to sort of like the start of March, which is my birthday, I'll be in a pretty good spot. And then I'm planning on dieting for 4 more weeks after that, seeing what's what. But thank you very much for watching, as always. The link for the priority list for RRAPID will be in the description. You can also follow me on Instagram via the link in the description as well. If you've got any questions, drop them in the comments. And now I'm going to watch a little bit of Love Island All Stars, and I'm not going to bother about the City game, I don't think, anymore. Also, I was wrong about Sean. Sean's a bit of a knobhead, and Scott was actually right. So I'm admitting that I was wrong on that one. But anyway, adios, hasta luego, and again, thanks for watching.